Yo, what is going on, guys? Johnny GB here, bringing you guys week number 1 of the PGL. Now, some disclaimers for you guys. This is late. This is about 2 weeks late. Actually, we're approaching 3 weeks late. For the reason that computer was in the shop 2 weeks ago, so the week it was supposed to go up, didn't have my computer at all. Week 2, I actually just was flooded. I had a mix of homework with school, 12-hour shifts at work, and a bunch of stuff in between at home. So never have had the chance to actually record anything the last couple of weeks. That's why you guys haven't seen any content from me, whether it is streaming. I'm starting to stream new Twitch, Pokemon Showdown, or any type of uploads. I really haven't had. Last week with the P4G, the week 7 battle, we ended up having a forfeit win. So, I mean, it's just been no content due to my schedule. Hopefully now I can start being a little bit more organized with the schedule and actually recording on the free time that I have. That should actually help me out tremendously. But we're bringing you guys week 1, 3 weeks late. If you guys don't know already, we did take on Max Rapture, the Aussie from Down Under, coach of the Tasmanian Toxicroaks, probably one of the best logos in the league format. If you guys don't know, you guys haven't seen this battle already, it is long. This went the full hour for us, so I'm going to actually just get this started. There will be times where I am just going to mute myself, speed this battle up in the editing process because it lasted forever. That is all I can say for you guys, and I'm going to get the battle music going on here so you guys got a little bit of sound going on in the background. So he's going to lead Donphan as I lead Zapdos. He's going to immediately withdraw, fearing the HP Ice, which is fine because I actually have U-turn on this Zapdos for that exact reason. So he goes out to his Magearna. So it had me thinking that he was probably Assault Vested, so it means Naga Onodel isn't a very good Mon to switch into it. I go out to my Incineroar, Assault Vested Incineroar. Very good matchup actually for his team with Deoxys and Magearna. Takes them on very well, as he's going to go back out to Donphan here, which to me, I can fire off a knockoff, which is fine because, one, I can get rid of leftovers. I can get rid of potential Berry on Magearna or a potential Assault Vessel. It was a no drawback play for me to go for the knockoff there. I'm just going to U-turn. I go right out into my Linoon. Now, Linoon actually has a very good chance to set up and start damaging some of the Pokemon on his team. Now, it can't damage everything because of it being slower than Blacephalon. This is when I first found out that Linoon was slower than Blacephalon. I always had the thought that Linoon was a base 115 speed around there. So here I just go for the Belly Drum, figuring, you know, he's going to switch out, fearing potentially Seed Bomb. Instead, he goes for the Roar. So that right away surprised me. One, I did not know Donphan got Roar. And unfortunately for me, he gets my Incineroar. Now, again, I'm just going to fire off a U-turn. No reason for me not to. I can start wearing down this Donphan, weakening it. And I go out to my Deoxys defense, because I think it's time for me to get my Stealth Rocks up. And that's what Deoxys is here for. It's a physical wall, and he just clicks Roar again. And unfortunately for me, he gets my Incineroar again. So right there, 50% of my Incineroar's health gone, which is just extremely unfortunate. And on my end, that on 2 Roars, he managed to get my Incineroar out. So here I go for the Fire Punch, which again, just bad play on my part. Was expecting him to click Roar again, honestly. Main reason I did fire off that Fire Punch, but it is all I could do. So here I go out to my Naga Onodel, and unfortunately I am not Z. I am Sub, Nasty Plot, Hidden Power Ground, and Dragon Pulse. So had I been maybe Flamethrower Naga Onodel, I could sweep here, as we do get the speed boost, so now I outspeed his Deoxys speed. So I'm in a very good spot here. We outspeed Deoxys, but he goes out to this Azumarill. And I don't have Poison Stab. This is where I immediately regretted Substitute and wish I actually had some form of poison stab. He's just going to go for the play rough here. My Zapdos takes that perfectly fine, I guess you want to say. But now I'm figuring he's probably Scarf since he went immediately into his Azumarill. I'm just not sure though. Maybe he was Kibia. Kibia probably the smart play to take a poison jab. So I'm just going to roost up on the Magearna switch in, get my Zapdos health back, and with the leftovers pretty much almost full, which is a good spot for me. And now I can fire off the Defog. I have my Stealth Rocker. He no longer has his. Donphan's gone, dead, not a concern anymore. As his Magearna is going to show Ice Beam, so I know this thing now has the tech for Naga Onodel, so I know I can't set up on the Magearna. So from here, I can fire off a U-turn. Yes, Zapdos is still weak, but there are Pokemon I can still roost up on. The unfortunate side of this is I don't have my AV Incineroar here to threaten him. But I do have Deoxys Defense, which with the base 150 defense stats, can still take hits as he's going to fire off a Trick Room, which was interesting bring, I want to say, seeing as he had some faster stuff like Deoxys Defense on his team. But he's going to go for the Flash Cannon here, which is fine. I can take it, and I can get my Stealth Rocks up. Now, this Deoxys Defense is sort of a mixed defense. I have physical and special investments into both, but it has knockoff, Stomping Tantrum, Stealth Rock, and Recover. Now, Stomping Tantrum is actually interesting on it because should a move fail, its power is doubled the next turn. Unfortunately for him, well, unfortunately for me, he does end up getting the special defense drop, which actually really sucks on my end because I was actually going to fire off a Stamping Tantrum that turn or possibly even Stealth Rock so that I can get the failed and then go for the Stomping Tantrum to do a good amount of damage to the Magearna. But that is not the case on my end. So with the Trick Room still active, I cannot actually roost up. He's just going to go for an Ice Beam, which will do a lot of damage to my Zapdos. So I have to go right out into my Deoxys. Now, with Deoxys here and the Trick Room gone, I have rocks up on the side of the field. I can set up a Recover. I can get my health back. And now I can just start wasting his moves. Pressure does kick in here. I mean, he doesn't have anything that has a high number of power points. So from here, I can actually just start stalling this Magearna out. And if Magearna's out of the way, Naga Onodel has a very good chance to pretty much go in and win. So there you guys see the Stomping Tantrum doesn't do much. So he does have some bulk into his Magearna. My Deoxys doesn't have much into its attack. So here, I just fire off a knockoff, or actually Recover, simply because I need to be able to be healthy enough to take on the rest of his team and pretty much safely switch in. Now, I know Shadow Ball doesn't kill. Even if he's Choice Specs, it doesn't kill. So I fire off a knockoff here. There's no reason for me not to click knockoff because he doesn't have anything to reliably take on my Deoxys, except his own Deoxys. So here's the knockoff, and it's going to do a good amount of damage. We're going to get rid of the Life Orb. So at this point in the game, I'm like, okay, so we've severely weakened this, and then I forgot he can run his own Recover, and I don't have actually much to take on this Deoxys. So here I do get the critical hit on the knockoff, but we're just going to see a Recover stall session here for a bit. So I go out to my Scolipede. Now, when I go out to Scolipede here, I was thinking I was going to get the speed boost after turn 1, but I'm like, wait, he probably still outspeeds me at +1 speed. So I know I can take a Psychic, but I'm not able to take a Psycho boost, and it wasn't a move I was actually expecting from this Deoxys. I had enough investment on my Scolipede so that I can reliably take a Psychic. I was clicking Mega Horn that turn, but unfortunately for me, he was running Psycho Boost. So I go out to Linoon here. I am able to take a Psycho Boost, and I just go for the Shadow Claw just to see how much damage this was actually going to do to it. I probably should have set up the Belly Drum, but I was mostly anticipating the switch into not Naga Onodel, switch into Blacephalon, because it's pretty much a free Blacephalon switch. So here he goes for 3 Psycho Boosts. So this was something I was keeping note of. Psycho Boost only has 8 power points, so he's used 3 of them up already. And with me switching into Deoxys, I can start burning them. So you see, I go for the Stealth Rock here to weaken, or to, not weaken, but get the Stomping Tantrum double boost. That was the main goal, is get the double boost from Stomping Tantrum. And you're going to see, because it's not stab and it's not hitting super effective, it's not doing much, but it's doing double of what it would have. So here I go Naga Onodel, and this is mostly to start pressuring and start scouting this Deoxys and trying to force him to really just get rid of all his Psycho Boosts. Now, because I switched Deoxys in to a Psycho Boost, he's used up 4, so he's only left with 4. And that's something that I know I needed to play around. And that's exactly what I do here is I switch Deoxys into the Psycho Boost. So now he is at 6 Psycho Boosts left, which is fantastic for me. That means I'm doing what I need to do, find out what his set is. Because if I can get rid of all the Psycho Boosts and I find out what his last move is, Naga Onodel can start setting up nasty plots and a substitute against this Deoxys. So I fire off another knockoff to start weakening it. I know he does have Recover, which is a bit of a pain. The other downside is my Zapdos isn't pressure either. I'm actually static. That was for any physical mons. I think he had an Aerodactyl. I can't remember off the top of my head at the time. So had I brought 2 pressure mons, this Deoxys would have actually been in some trouble. So I go out to my Naga Onodel. And again, this was to mostly bait him to use Psycho Boost. I was trying to get him to burn his last Psycho Boost. Once he does burn that last one, his only other attacking move is Signal Beam, which means my Naga Onodel can start setting up onto this Deoxys speed. And once Naga Onodel is set up, I can fire off Dragon Pulses. Magearna is close to a range that a +2 or 4 HP ground will knock it off, or knock it out. So here he's actually going to show the Signal Beam. This is where I mentioned he does have the Signal Beam. So this is where, if I had Pressure Zapdos, I'm in a fantastic spot. Because I can now force him between Deoxys and Zapdos to burn through all his Signal Beams. So that comes on the prep end on my part, which is a little bit unfortunate, but the only thing I know he can take me out with is Psycho Boost, which is a little bit unfortunate, but he's going to recover up here. I believe I'm actually clicking Roost here, mostly to get this thing up to full HP, and I know he's not going to burn his last Psycho Boosts. He can't risk me going into Deoxys, burning his last 2 Psycho Boosts, and now he's left with none, and put into a position really now where he can't touch the Naga Onodel because the poison does resist the bug. So he's just going to be forced into setting up some Calm Minds, which is pretty much his only option at this point, as I'm going to click U-turn. Now the downside of this Zapdos is I was minus attack. If I was minus special attack, the U-turns and the drill picks that I'm carrying would actually be a little bit better. So here I just go out to my Deoxys, start pressuring this Deoxys of his a little bit more, forcing him to use more moves in terms of attacking me. Had I had Calm Mind on this Deoxys with physically defensive, maybe you see a sweep. I'm not sure. But I just recover up 1 to get to full HP. So that way I can see what Signal Beam does to me. So I'm just going to swap out again. This is where I go out into my Zapdos, anticipating the Signal Beam. This is where, again, that pressure would have been fantastic. having the double pressure was something that wasn't going through my mind, simply because I wasn't really expecting a setup Deoxys. And you guys are seeing I'm actually ultimately paying the price for this at this time. So one, just letting him burn his recovers. I'm just going to fire off a U-turn again just to start damaging it. If I was a non-minus attack nature, maybe these U-turns are doing a little bit more. So here I go out to Naga Onodel, and this is a very crucial turn in my opinion. No, not yet. So again, we're going out to Zapdos. This is to scout for Signal Beam, and I'm playing it as if I were double pressure, but unfortunately I'm not. And he got several confusion hacks along with several special defense drops that pretty much forced me out. One being that special defense drop with Magearna versus Deoxys when I could have Stealth Rock, Stomping Tantrum, do a good amount of damage versus Deoxys. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But Zapdos is able to break through confusion. I had to play it risky there, and I fire off the U-turn. So this now puts Deoxys in range of a Linoon Extreme Speed. Extreme Speed from this range does kill, and this was one of the turns that I really wasn't thinking. Instead of clicking Shadow Claw, anticipating the switch, I end up staying in, and I just go for the Extreme Speed. Very easy, very dumb play on my part when I could have just clicked Shadow Claw. At this point, I have no switch-ins to the Blacephalon, so I have to just pretty much stay in and sack off Linoon, which was the only thing that could, at this range, revenge the Deoxys. So right there, in a span of 2 plays, 2 stupid plays, have really hurt me. But here comes Naga Onodel, so this thing's minus special attack. Here comes stupid play number 3 in a span of 3 turns. I set up a substitute when he just stays in and attacks me, when I should have just set up a nasty plot, because at +1 speed I outspeed Deoxys. At +2 special attack I can kill Magearna, but that's not the case. So here we get the +1 special attack. Great. You know what? I mean, +1 speed. You know what? Fantastic. We outspeed Deoxys now. I needed the +2. I needed the +2 special attack, maybe even +4 special attack to 1 kill off this Magearna. But instead, that's not the case. I just go out to my Deoxys. I mean, yes, we are down 3-4. I'm still in a good position, but not in a position I am actually very happy with. So that is the downside on my part. Again, he's just going to start going for flash cannons. So he gets the special defense drop, which actually just sucks because, again, it was a turn I was trying to Stomping Tantrum for the double base power to put this thing in range of a Naga Onodel. But with the flash cannon, the flash cannon special defense drop, that's no longer the case, because I would have actually been in fantastic position had I not gotten that special defense drop. Stomping Tantrum would have put it in range of a neutral HP ground killing at +1 speed. Naga Onodel at this point sweeps up the rest of the game. But for my sake, that wasn't the actual case, which means now we have more battle for you guys. Pretty much we're rolling in at turn 50 right now, and there's still 30 turns to go. He's just going to fire off a flash cannon, do an okay amount because of stab. No special defense drop, thankfully, and I'm able to actually recover up my Deoxys, get it to somewhat decent health, and that's what these next 2 turns are pretty much just recovering my Deoxys' health, making sure I'm as healthy as can be. I go for the Stomping Tantrum just to start wearing down the Magearna. You guys see the damage that did. Times that by 2, and Magearna's probably down to the HP ground. So we're fortunate to, 1, live the Floor Cannon on 5 HP, which allows my Deoxys to recover up. And I was still uncertain on what this Magearna's item was. He's going to actually withdraw the Magearna and go out to Blunder, which I believe is the Medicham, which is fine. This Deoxys has a Rocky helmet. I could care less about the Medicham. Medicham does not do anything to me. So I am just going to click recover here. It has nothing that can kill me. Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, they don't kill. They do a lot of damage, but it's nowhere near to killing. He's going to fire off the Ice Punch, probably for the Zapdos. That's fine. I take it. He takes Rocky Helmet damage. We are good to go. We're golden. I recover up, get my HP back. Perfectly fine. Again, this Medicham, this Deoxys was built for the Medicham. He's just going to fire off another Ice Punch. Okay. Does good damage. I fire off a knockoff, pretty much just to weaken it. It was also in case the Deoxys tried to come in. I can catch it. So here he makes a very good play, and he's going to show off the Baton Pass, and he's going to go right out into his Deoxys on the turn I recover. Had I clicked knockoff this turn, I probably end up winning the game if I do click knockoff. But I made the smart play. I mean, you can't knock me on it. I made the smart play and I recovered. His Deoxys is going to now spam recover. So we are in a position where if I click knockoff against the Medicham to take it out, I'm in a good spot. But he had the tech, the Baton Pass, and he got into his Deoxys safely. So now he's just going to start recovering and setting up the Calm Mind. So now we get into the play where it was a tough play for me to make. Right now, my options were hard switch or go out into Deoxys. And I stayed in because I figured he wouldn't waste his last Psycho Boost with my Deoxys in the back. And unfortunately for me, he ended up using his last Psycho Boost at that point. Or, well, used his last two Psycho Boosts here versus Zapdos and Naga Onodel. And with him removing Naga Onodel, I pretty much have no chance at beating this Deoxys now. Other than stalling it out. All I have is Deoxys and Zapdos versus pretty much 4 Pokemon on his team. Now, the 4 Pokemon, Deoxys actually takes them on well. There's nothing I can argue about that. So here, I'm just going to actually hard swap on his recover. 1, so I can get leftovers recovery. He's -4 special attack. So with the leftovers recovery, Signal Beam is not going to kill me at all. So now this will allow me to fire off a free Roost, pretty much just going back and forth, switching, just trying to get my Zapdos in range of being able to take hits. But the play with the Naga Onodel, it came down to a 50-50 really, if I was going to switch into my Deoxys or he was actually going to switch into, or I was going to stay in with Naga Onodel. And he guessed it right. I was going to stay in. I should have swapped into Deoxys. Deoxys was healthy. There was no reason for me to. So from here, it's going to be a long remainder of the battle here where I'm going to fast forward. A lot of it's just going to be Roost, Calm Mind, Recover, switching into Deoxys and Zapdos, wearing down his attacks. And this game will ultimately go all the way to timer, which is actually unfortunate that we're going to take a 4-2 timer loss, which ends up just being a 4-0 loss in the actual stat sheet. And again, that play with the Naga Onodel, if I hard swap to Deoxys, bam, he has no more Psycho Boosts. Naga Onodel can go back in safely while that thing's at -2. And now I can start setting up nasty plots on it. And once I start setting up nasty plots and I kill something, I can take an Aqua Jet from the Azumarill. Unfortunately, I can't kill the Azumarill. That's the downside. I have no Poison Stab. But +4 HP ground will do a lot. But at that point, Deoxys wins the game, which was the really unfortunate side of it in me playing that way. Also played, I mean, just that 4-turn stretch with extreme speeding the Deoxys. I get it was a safe play. Those turns I made were safe plays and were not me being aggressive, which was what the real downside of this was. Is I had that 4-turn stretch of where I decided to make the safe play. Extreme speed with Linoon, sack off the Linoon, go into Naga Onodel, set up a sub instead of setting up the nasty plot, which ultimately led to my 4-2 defeat, going all the way to timer. But I'm going to fast forward this, guys, for you guys so that you guys do not have to sit there and watch 18 turns of pretty much just roost stall versus this Deoxys. So I'll be back for a little bit of post-game commentary here soon. And with that, we are now at the final turn. We hit turn 80, and at this point, he goes for a signal beam. I go for a drill pick. I didn't get one crit in those turns, and he got what 3-4 confusions. But with that 80th turn, ding, 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 the timer has now rang. Now, few post-game commentary onto it. I played risky, and that's my fault. The Naga Onodel play really hurt me. Even the Scolipede play, in a sense, hurt me because I have Deoxys. I switch into this thing, but I was figuring I can take a Psychic and I KO with Mega Horn. Regardless of the bulk, I was adamant I take him out. I know I don't outspeed at +1, but I can get rid of it with a Mega Horn. So just was taken back by the fact that he was Psycho Boost was unfortunate, but I just played around it poorly, and that led to an hour-long battle, which even sped up takes 30 minutes. But if you guys enjoyed this Week 1 PGL battle, go ahead and like the video. This video should be up on Thursday, March 8th. You guys will get a double header in the PGL, and you guys will get Week 3 on Friday. But go ahead, like, subscribe, comment down below. But with all that being said, guys, I am Johnny GB, and I'm out.